We'll start 38.
You want to mute everyone?
Yeah, I'll do that. We'll start 38b. 38b at the Mishnah. There's two Mishnahs here. The first one, Tanner. It's in the middle of the page. So the first Mishnah of the Perek, and the title of the Perek is Kira. Kira is a stove that we learned has two places for two pots. Tanner. Now this Mishnah is Tanner. This is an oven, and it's Tanner shesikua b'kasha gvava. If the oven is lit with straw, so when we learned about a kira, we said, well, if it's lit with straw and stubble, you can put food on it. But now that we have no concern that you're going to stoke the coals of the straw, and it's like just goes out in a second. But by a tanner, no. Tanner shesikua b'kasha gvava layitin, you cannot put bein b'taycha bein mal gabav, whether inside or on top. So it sounds like straw is an issue in a tanner. What are we talking about over here when we say layitin? Are we talking about lishes or lahachser? So Taisa says the same issue that we had in the first Mishnah we have over here. We're talking about chazar, we're talking about leaving it there. Kupach shesikua b'kasha gvava hareze kekirayim. Kupach is a single is a stove that has a place for one pot. So a tanner also has a place for just one pot. So what's the difference of kupach and a tanner? The difference is that a kupach is a square, and a tanner is a triangle. So it has more room on the bottom for coals, and the heat also collects up and as it gets condensed on the top. So a tanner is hotter than a kupach. So by a kupach, it depends. Kupach shesikua b'kasha gvav, if it's lit with straw and stubble, or is a kirayim, then it has a din of a kirayim, then of a kira. Begefes veitzim, but if it's lit with the other fuels, which we said is what's left over, the pulp from sesames and wood, harei katana, then it's like an oven. Okay. The Gemara says like this: Tanner shesikua, an oven that was lit up. Sav Rabbi Yosef l'meimar, Rabbi Yosef. You have some pictures there. Okay, what is that? That's a tanner, right? I can't read it, but I see the shape of it. That's a tanner. Yeah. Some people wanted to make a halachic issue with a crackpot. They wanted to say that it's considered a kupach because it has just one pot. It's just for one pot. It could be other issues, but anyway, everyone uses it. So Savra Yosef Lemei Martaner Toichai, that when it says Toichai mamish, it means inside, and al gabav is al gabav mamish, and on top means literally on top. But you can put a pot on the side of a tanner. That's not an issue. We had an issue before, not an issue. We had a question. Mahu lismeich, right? That was ibailuhu. Mahu lismeich. Are you allowed to put something on the side? And we finished off that Simchen by Akira. Simchen law. So we said you were allowed to put on the side, right? We didn't have that concern. So what's going to be by a tanner? So he says, but by a tanner you're allowed to put it on the side as well. It's only on the top and inside. That's an issue. Abai asked the question to Rabbi Yosef. It's very common. Abai is a student of Rabbi Yosef. What about the kupach, which is a stove that holds one pot? If it's lit with straw, then it's like a kira, which is another type of stove that has two pots. But if it's lit with the other type of fuel, then it becomes like a tanner. Okay, so when it says it's aser, what is it referring to? If it's like a tanner, it's aser. So whatever the case it's going to be referring to, if it would be a kira, it would be mutter. Ha kira shari. But if it would be a kira, then it had to be mutter. So b'maya skinan. Abaye is presenting to Rabbi Yosef that because kupach could be like a tanner, could be like a kira, depending on the fuel that you use. So there must be a contrast between a tanner and a kira, because you have to get that difference depending on which fuel you use. So in other words, if it would be like a tanner, it's aser. If it's like a kira, then it's mutter. Okay, so exactly which case are we referring to that we would have that contrast? Tanner is aser and a kira is mutter. So Eily mal gabav, Mrs. B'mai skin, what are we dealing with? Eily mal gabav, if you're saying that you're putting a pot on top of the stove, b'mai, what type of stove? Eily mekasheina garafukatim, if you say that you didn't take out the coals, elakira ki en a grufa ktuma al gabav mishari. So you said that, it's a tanner, it's a big problem here. A kupach is like a tanner. If you put it on top, it's if you light it with gefes veitzim, it becomes like a tanner. You can't put it on top. Sounds like if it would be a kira, you could be allowed to put it on top, but it's not true. You can't put it on top of a kira. But whichever way we're going to learn, lahachzer, lishes, whatever, it needs to be garafakatam. And we said that it's ein grufaktum. Elalav lismech. It must be that we're talking about that you're putting it on the side. You're putting it on the side. There's a contrast between a tanner and a kira. We said it's like a tanner. It's also obviously putting something on the side of a tanner is also also. It's a bias kasha to Rabbi Yosef. Such a pasha the teretz here that it makes the Gemara confusing. Why don't you just say that it's talking about grufa ktuma? That by a tanner it's aser and by a kira it's mutter. Why do you have to tell me it's on the side of the oven? Because you couldn't tell me that it was talking about an oven that's ein garafakatam, where there's no blech, where by a kira it's aser just like a tanner. You have to tell me that therefore it's on the side. Say it's talking about grufa ktuma. So that's Tais's question. Taisvis explains, Abaye doesn't think of saying that we're dealing with an oven that the coals were raked out by a kupach. We made a difference by a kupach. Depends what type of fuel you use. If you use a very hot fuel, then it's like a tanner. If you use a less intense fuel, then it's like a kira. Abaye only thinks that this difference is if the coals are still inside. Because if you rake out the coals, what's the difference what type of fuel you used originally? You took the coals out. So according to Abaye, we're dealing with the coals are still in there. So we have to be dealing with a oven that's the kupach, whatever, that's ein garafakata. Okay, so now his only possibility is if I'm putting it on top, so I can't put it on top of a kira either. And you said that it depends. If it's a tanner, if it depends what fuel you use, it could be like a tanner, like a kira. But I can't put it on top anyway on a kira. So how do you have a contrast? It must be that you're putting it on the side, if the coals are still in there. And what do we see? That putting something on the side of a tanner is also putting something on the side of a kira would be mutter. So by a kupach, it depends which fuel you use. The Gemara says, okay, Amar Ravada Barava, he has a different shot. He says, Hacha bekupach gara fekatav. Betana grufak tumaskina. No, we're dealing with that you took the coals out. If you took the coals out, so why is there a distinction with what type of coals you used originally? He holds that there is a difference because you never really get all the coals out. You try to get them all out, and it's an attempt. But what the fuel that's used initially still makes a difference. So he says, Ravada Barava Tana Grufak Tumaskin Harehu Ketaner. When we said Hare, it's like an oven. Dafagav the Garafakatum, that even though you took the coals out, but Al Gabav is still aser. Even though you took the coals out, if your initial fuel was this very hot fuel of sesame pulp or wood, the kira, because if it would be like a kira, that would mean that if you use the other ones, so then it would be mutter. I'm sorry. If it would be a kupach that you light with gefes ve'etzim, that is like a tanar, because if it would have been a kira, it would have been permissible. Why? Because you rake the coals out. By a tanar, raking the coals out doesn't help, and by a kira, raking the coals out helps. That's what we learned from Ravada Barava. Okay, so that's the contrast. However, Abaya still claimed that you can't put a pot next to a tanar. Lismech. Tanika v'seida Abaya. Let's bring a support for Abaya. A brisa. Tanar shesikol b'kashav gvava. If you lit an oven, a tanar with straw. Ein seimchna, you can't put it on the side. Okay, it's a raya to Abaya. Rabbi Yosef thought that you're allowed to. There's a brisa that says you can't. Vein tzarech leimer al gabav, and for sure you can't put it on top. Vein tzarech leimer l'seichen, for sure you can't put it inside. Vein tzarech leimer, and for sure not begefes ve'etzim. If you lit it with the very intense fuel. Kupach shesikua b'kashu gvava, but a kupach that you lit with straw, seimchna, you can put it on the side. A pot on the side of it. Why? It's like a kira. Kira, you're allowed to be seimach. Ve'in noisna al gabav, but you can't put it on top. Why not? The Gra changes it. Ve'in noisna al gabav, but you can't put it on top. I'm talking about if you raked it out. Do you have to rake it out by a kira? What did we say? Gefes ve'etzim, you don't need gara for cotton. Yeah, so it's perfect. The Gra's gears is perfect. Ve'in noisna al gabav, and you can put it on the top. Begefes ve'etzim, but if the kupach you lit with the other types of fuel, ein seimchna, you can't put it on the side. Why? Because it's like a tanar. Now, as we said, a tanar you can't put it on the side. Amalei Ravacha Breder Ravaler Ravashi. Ravacha, the son of Rava, says to Ravashi, Hi kupach, heichidami. What's going on with the kupach? What are you telling me? You light it like this, it becomes like that. You light it like that. Ikakira dami. If it's compared to a kira, afila begefes ve'etzim nami, then you should be allowed. If you take the coals out, you should be allowed to put it on top, or you should be allowed to be seimach to it next to it and next to it on the side. Ikatana dami. If it's compared to a tanar, afila bekasha gvavanami, then even if it's lit with straw, you should not be allowed to. Because this is a yeshiva style question. They say, what is it exactly? The kupach. You're telling me it's a little of this, a little of that. So it says, tell me, categorize it. What is a kupach? If it's a kira, then it should be permissible on the top. Then what's the difference what you light it with? If it's a tanar, then what's the difference what you light it with? It should be aser. Amarle, so he says, nafish havli mid the kira, vizuta havli mid the tanar. No. It has an intermediate status. It has more, it's hotter than a kira, but it's not as hot as a tanar. Okay? So therefore, it depends what fuel you use. Heichidami kupach. What is the case of a kupach? What is it? How is it defined? Heichidami kira. What's it different than a kira? Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina says, it's early Amayra in Eretz Yisrael. Kupach makam svisas kederachas. A kupach has place for one pot. Kira makam svisas shtei kederas. A kira has place for two pots. That's what we explained at the beginning. It was based on this Gemara. Amar Rabbi v'tim Rabbi Yirmiyah Fananami Tanina. We also have a Mishnah that supports this. The description that you just gave of a kupach and a kira, we have that description in the Mishnah. It goes like this: Kira shenechlaka la'arka tahira l'rachba tmeya. If a kira is broken in half, so we know that you break something, a keli that's broken becomes tar. So it's a rectangle. So if it's broken in half the long way, so then it's not usable. But if it's broken in half I'm sorry, on the short end, it's broken in half, then it's not usable, but it's broken, the long way is broken in half, then you have two halves. So you have still two ovens there that you could use. So it's going to be still tamei. L'rachba is still tamei because the kira is double the size of a kupach. When you break a kira in half, if you break it l'rachba to the width, so then you have two kupachs. However, kupach bein larka bein l'rachba it's tar. But a kupach, whichever way you break it, is going to be tar because it only has place for one pot. So if it cracks this way, cracks that way, it's useless. Okay. The new Mishnah. Ein neisten, we're on bottom of 38. Ein neisten beya b'tzad ha'meicham b'shvil shetisgalgal. You can't put an egg next to a chainik, next to a hot water pot, so that the egg, we're talking about putting it on the side. B'tzad ha'meicham. Meicham was, Rashi tells us, was made out of copper. So that the egg should become hard-boiled. The Aruch on the side, they quote from who are they quoting from? Yeah, they quote from the Aruch that why is an egg, cooking an egg called gilgul? So it's because if you want to check if it's hard-boiled, you spin it. If it spins, that means it's hard-boiled. So b'shvil shetisgalgal, so that it should become hard-boiled. That's the expression they use. Yeah, they had that trick back then. You can't also crack it open into a cloth. We're talking about a cloth here that was heated in the sun. It'd be a cloth that was left outside, and you would crack an egg into it, and it would just it'd be like a fried sunny side up because of the hot cloth. Rabbi says you're allowed to use a cloth that's heated in the sun. It's hot, and it would cook an egg. You can't put it into sand or in the dirt of the road, so that it should fry. Okay. There's a story that the people of Tveria, what they did is they brought a pipe of cold water and they put it into the hot springs of Tveria, geothermal those springs. So what were they doing? There's two interpretations here. Either the pipe itself is being heated up, or they're letting the water flow in. I think it's easier for us to understand. Taisvus pshat is that they're bringing a pipe that's going through it. It's getting heated like that. And it's going through the hot water, and it's supposed to heat up the cold water. If you're doing this on Shabbos, you're heating hot water you're heating cold water on Shabbos, and that's a problem. The asurim berechitza, you can't use it for washing. B'shtia, you can't use it for drinking. In b'yamtiv, and if it's heating water on yamtiv, so then kecham and shochem b'yamtiv, you're heating it on yamtiv. There's no tricks over here. That you're saying no, it's getting heated from the ground. Doesn't work. And you can't use it for washing, and you can't use it, and you are allowed to use it for drinking. On Yom Tov, you're allowed to heat water for drinking, but there's a gzeira that was placed on bathing, as we'll see later in the Gemara. Okay, and that was a big discussion today. If you're allowed to shower on Yom Tov, it's a big machlokes. Depends who you ask. That sense. Okay. Yibailu. The Gemara has a question. Gilgal Mai. What's the halacha if you do roast an egg next to a meicham? Next to What's the Gemara's question exactly? Gemara wants to know, I think, if it's a deraisa or a derabanan. At least that's what's understood from the answer. Rabbi Yosef Gilgal Chayiv Chatas. It's Chayiv Chatas. It means it's a deraisa. You didn't mamish cook it on the fire. You cooked it next to the fire, but that's enough to cook it. Is that considered a deraisa or a derabanan? It's not even from the fire. It's getting heat off the hot water pot. The hot water pot is getting from the fire. Maybe you could say, that it's not really cooking. It's a derivative. It's a tolda. Or the Gemara wasn't clear what that's going to be. So the Gemara says no. It doesn't matter. You cooked on the side of a hot water pot. It's still chayiv chatas. Amar mar breder ravina fanana mitanina. Such a type of cooking, we learned that in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, it's later on in this Masechta, we're on top of Daf Lamites, Kol sheba b'chamin b'lifnei Shabbos, sher se b'chamin b'Shabbos. This is the rule that anything that was cooked once doesn't get cooked again. It's in bishul acher bishul. If it was cooked before Shabbos, if it came into hot water before Shabbos, over here it's explained that we're talking about that how does it just cook just by putting it in hot water. We're talking about that it was salted, so cooking would be easy. But if it was cooked before Shabbos, on Shabbos itself, you're allowed to put it again in hot water to whatever, soften it up or whatever that would do. Kol shalayba b'chamin melifnei Shabbos, anything that wasn't cooked once, then meidichan se b'Shabbos, b'chamin b'Shabbos, you're allowed to wash it in hot water. This is the rule that klisheni is not mavashal. Mediach means klisheni, it's a secondary vessel. So it's not a problem, even though it wasn't cooked, but it doesn't get cooked by just washing it. Chutz min amaliach yashin v'kol saspan, except for an old salted, something that was salted a while back, or these very thin sort of fish, Spanish mackerel, that's what they told us in yeshiva. I don't know what it is. That washing it is the cooking it. This is the rule of kali abishal. You speak about things that, you can't put it in a klisheni because it's kali abishal. The example that the Gemara uses is kulisa spanin, is this Spanish mackerel. It's very easy for it to cook. You can't even put it in a klisheni. Okay. Shma mina. We see from here that even slight cooking is considered cooking. You see, kulasa spanin is you can't put it in even in a klisheni. So also an egg, if you put it on the side of a pot, it's going to be considered cooking. It's interesting that should be the raya, because I don't see the chiyuv chatas. I just see that you're not allowed to. Rashi says the fact that it says gemar malachtai or malachtan, that tells me that it's a real bishul. Shma min hazeh bishulei v'chayev. Okay. What is that, Dr. Stein? Is that a fish? A mackerel. Okay. You can't open it up into a cloth. I'm talking about cracking an egg into a hot cloth. And this that we learned in the Mishnah, you're allowed to put a stew into a pit so that it should be protected. You're allowed to put drinkable water into bad water so that it should cool down. Let's say there was cold water, but it wasn't drinkable. But you're allowed to take a pot of drinkable water and put it into it to cool it down. This is the bigger chiddush. You're allowed to put cold water into hot water that's not drinkable, right? So that it should heat up. That Mishnah, Lema Rabbi Yosi, that must be Rabbi Yosi. Why? Because Rabbi Yosi held that I'm allowed to crack an egg into a cloth that was heated in the sun. He holds that something that's heated from the sun is not considered cooking. And so therefore, this hot water that's heated from the sun It's not considered cooking. So I'm allowed to put my cold water in a pot inside this hot water. And the hot water is heated from the sun, and it should be fine. And it will be fine. Lema Rabbi Yossi v'lei Rabbanan. Could say that this Mishnah is only Rabbi Yossi that allows this. Rav Nachman b'chama de kol yam alei pligi. The shari. If it's actually the sun, heated in the sun itself, everyone agrees that it's permissible. Because the way of cooking it's not normal to cook in the sun. And that's not the malacha of cooking. It told us cooking next to a pot or next to a hot oven, even though it's not directly cooking from the fire, it's cooking from something that the fire heated up. That's also. Kipligi, where's the machlaikas? That's only betol the sachama. That's only something that was heated off the sun. Marsav Gazin told the schama to tell the sar. Marsav Gazin. Do we consider heating something on something that was heated in the sun, which you can't tell anymore how it was heated? If I have a hot pan, could be I heated it on the stove, could be I heated it in the sun. So Rabbi Yossi says, well, if you heat it in the sun, you can cook an egg on it because it's not considered cooking. It was heated from the sun. And the Chachamim hold that no, I don't know where that pan was heated. That pan could have been heated on the fire as well. That's called toldas chama. Toldas chama doesn't tell me if it's heated in the sun or heated heated over an oven. So there's a gzeira toldas chama to toldas ar. What's heated off the sun could have been heated in the oven as well. But cooking directly in the sun is no problem. So if you were able to make a tea in the sun, that would be fine. It would be fine.
Why is it not considered cooking? It's still changing it based on heat.
Yeah, apparently the malacha is only the original malacha, which was with fire.
So it's really lo sivaru.
No, lo sivaru, you're not lighting the fire. You're cooking, but cooking with fire. In other words, let's say there was another way of cooking. I don't know, curing it.
I think of cooking
I
think of cooking as something that changes texture or composition through the application of heat.
Right.
And
here we're learning that what's the source of heat as well.
Okay, thank you.
Rabbi, how do you cook something in the sun without heating the utensil?
Oh, yeah.
As well?
I was always wondering about this before styrofoam. I didn't know how to do that. I don't know. It seems like if the sun is still there, it seems like it's fine. Here we're talking about you're putting something cold in hot water that's heated in the sun. The water got hot. The water's in a pond or whatever.
Rabbi, in my picture, an egg is being made on the stone next to an ocean, and it's the sunlight doing it. I know it's hard to see the picture.
No, I see the picture. It's nice.
That's what it was.
That could go in your matzah sandwich on the last day. So, Rabbi has a tshuva about using a microwave based on this. It says it's not the normal way of the old-fashioned way of cooking, where you take microwaves and it starts to heat up inside the food, and it's not. But Rabbi was machmer in that you can't cook with a microwave on Shabbos and say it's similar to toldas chama. Oh, it's similar to toldas chama. That's the problem. It's not chama. It's toldas chama, right? Which would be a gzeira. Okay. Liyat minena b'chol. You can't. The word hatmana means to insulate. You can't insulate it or hide it in sand. The Gemara asks, why didn't Rabbi Yossi say that this was permissible? What's going on with the sand? The sand gets hot. Why doesn't Rabbi Yossi say you're allowed to put it in the sand? He holds that toldas chama is permissible. The sand got hot, put the egg in the sand, and it should be allowed. Rabbi Yosi holds that Todas Cham is mutter. Well, there's going to be over here a machlekes between Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef. Not Rabbi Yosi, but Rabbi Yosef as an Amir, a biased teacher. Rabbi Megzir Shemiyatim Beremetz. No, this looks like you're hiding it in ash on the side of the fire. Those remetz, the ash that goes out. Over there could still be coals there. So the sand is very similar to remetz, to the ash. There's a gzeira of atmana. You may think that remetz, if you can do sand, you can do remetz. And remetz is not allowed. Rabbi Yosef says it has to do with plowing. You're moving the dirt from in the ground. Digging a hole, it's plowing. It depends. Digging a hole, it depends if it's inside the house or outside the house. Inside the house is building, outside the house is plowing. Okay. My binai, what's the difference? It could be nayo afir tichuach. If you have sand or dirt that was already designated beforehand. You have no concern of plowing there because the sand was already removed from the ground. It's not considered plowing, but it still looks like sand. It looks like remetz. Okay, meisvei. You can cook an egg on a hot roof that got hot in the sun, but you can't cook it in sid. Sid is, I guess, lime or something. Here we're saying sidri teach is got heated in the with fire. Okay. If the concern is that maybe you're going to do hatmana in remetz, which is the ash. So we understand why you're allowed to do it on the roof. Like a migzar. A roof is not similar to ash. A roof is just a flat surface. But if it's because you may end up moving the dirt, digging a hole or something, ligzar, there should be a decree on the roof. Maybe you're going to move the dirt on the roof. No, we're not concerned about moving dirt on the roof. Usually there's no dirt on the roof. So that's not a concern. That's why it's permissible. Okay, Tashima. There was a story quoting the Mishnah. People of Tveria, they view silan shotzain and they brought a pipe of cold water. They passed it through a stream of hot water. This is probably what they would do in Iceland as well. So the Gemara says like this: according to the opinion that says, well, there's a concern that you might put it in remetz. So haina dedami latmana. What happened over there is the sages said you're not allowed to do it. So if the concern of putting it in sand, which was Rabba's concern, is because it's similar to remetz. So here, this is a type of hatmana. You're putting water inside it, being matman, water and water. But if the concern was because you're digging, what's the problem over here? In other words, where's Rabbi Yosi's, Rabbi Yosi holds that it should be allowed. And where's Rabbi Yosi's, according to Rabbi Yosi, this is perfectly fine. If we hold, like Rabbi Yosef, that the reason why, when would Rabbi Yosi agree is if it was digging. Yeah, there's no digging. So the Gemara says, Misamrit, Maisit Seifakai. Do you think, you see in the Mishnah, we had three cases. Well, the Mishnah says you can't put it next to the the hot pot, the hot urn. Then we said you can't put it in a hot cloth that's heated in the sun. And Rabbi Eily allows that. Then we said you can't put it into the sand. And Rabbi Eily doesn't say anything. Now we had a machlekes. After it says you can't put it in the sand, and we have machlekes in the Gemara why, but then the Mishnah then goes on and says, but in Tveria, they did put the pipe through the hot water, and the Chacham told them that it's not allowed. Now, if it's a continuation of hatmana beremetz, so then very good. This is a type of hatmana, and that's a type of hatmana. Don't put it in the sand. That's a type of hatmana, an insulation. And putting the pipe through the hot water is a type of hatmana. But if you say it has to do with digging, so what does it have to do with digging? There's no digging here. It's a continuation from the sand, but it has nothing to do with it, according to Rabbi Yosef. So the Gemara answers, when it's the story that the Mishnah is bringing is not a continuation of don't put it in the sand. It's a continuation of, it's going back to the case of don't open an egg in a cloth. And this is like opening an egg in a hot cloth, because this water was heated by the sun. It's a tolda of the sun. It was heated by the sun. So Areishakai, Le'afkian Besudrim, Rabbi Yossi Matir, V'hachi Kamer Le Rabbanan Le Rabbi Yossi, and the Rabbanan tell to Rabbi Yossi, Hamaisad Anshi Tveria, the Toldas Cham, Huvasi Le Rabbanan. Chami Tveria is heated by the sun, and the rabbi said that it's prohibited. You can't, it's heated from the sun. It's hot from the sun. So
Chami Tveria is from the sun?
Okay, give me 1 second. V'asi Le Rabbanan, and they said that it's prohibited. So Amar Lahu, Ahu told the Sa'ar, who? No, it's not heated from the sun. It's heated from fire. The Chalfei Apischa de Gehenim, it goes by the entrance to Gehenim, and that heats it up. What's going on over here? The heat of the earth either comes from what we understand today, I think, is that either it comes from the earth was hot originally when it was made and it still hasn't cooled down, or it's from the decaying radioactive matter that's there. Maybe that's the machlekes, which one it is. If it's from the sun, it's from the original heat, right? Okay. We're not allowed to study this cosmology stuff. So Hashem created it, and that's how it is. It's I'll see. Okay. Someone said that there's a place called something similar to Gan Eden. I forgot the word. Do you know what it is? Somewhere in Israel, it's similar. It sounds similar to Gan Eden.
Gan HaShlosha?
I'm not sure.
Then hot springs.
Then they said that there's a place in Israel also, Gay Ben Hinnom or something that's similar to Gehenna. What they were trying to do by using those names was to give us a horrible place and say that that's an example of what Gehenna is. And then Gan Eden was also, it wasn't that location is Gehenna or that location is Gan Eden. That was just an example of what we should understand. Would Gehenna be like, or would Gan Eden be like?
Isn't Hebron the entrance to Gan Eden?
Right. That's what I've heard. Does it say that in the Gemara, or is that tradition?
I'm not sure. I heard it. I think I heard it when I was there.
Uh-huh. In the tour book.
Yeah.
Amar Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda says, returning to the top of Lamed Tes, Amud Beis, 39b. Chisda says, Maisa shasu anshi Tveria. From the story that happened in Tveria, V'ashalu Rabbanan, and the Rabbanan said that it's not allowed, Batla Atmana B'dav Ma'asev Havel. Here's where we have the prohibition that you're not allowed to do hatmana in anything that adds heat. See, this is an example of something that increases heat. There's no fire there. It's just insulation. But the insulation itself makes it hot. And vafilim by diyam, even if it's still day. Why? They brought the pipe through on Erev Shabbos, and it's still prohibited. Still prohibited. Amar Ula. Ula says, halacha kanshi Tveria. Wow. The Rabbanan argued, the Rabbanan said that you're not allowed. The Ula says that you are allowed. What exactly is Ula permitting here? It's a little bit vague. Okay. However, Amalei Rav Nachman says the Ula kvarta tavrinu anshi Tveria l'silinayo. It's not true. They anshi Tveria themselves changed their mind. They broke their pipes. They stopped that whole industry. Heating water through Chamei Tveria. Okay. There's a story that happened in Chamei Tveria. The Gemara quotes the Mishnah, and over there we said that if it was on Yom Tov, if it was on Shabbos, so I say Dr. Stein. If it was on Shabbos, so you can't use that water for rechitza or for washing or for drinking. And if it's on Yom Tov, you can use it for drinking, but not for washing. My rechitza. What type of washing are you saying is prohibited on Shabbos and on Yom Tov? Eily merechitzas kol gufay. Are we talking about washing the whole body? This is the sugya, by the way. Merchatz goes a little bit, but talking about washing the whole body. Elachamin shochma b'Shabbos huda asurin. Hachamin shochma erev Shabbos mutarin. It sounds like the concern of the rabbis was that you think you're heating it from before Shabbos. No, you're heating the water on Shabbos. This is a big problem. So we're asking, and if you would have heated it before Shabbos, you're allowed to take a bath in water that was heated before Shabbos? Why are you saying it's as if you're heating it on Shabbos and therefore you're not allowed to? You're not allowed to anyway, even if it was before Shabbos. But Tanya, chamin shochma be'erev Shabbos l'macha rechetz ben panav yadav v'raglav havaloi kol gufay. You can't wash it. You can't take a full bath on Shabbos. You can only wash your hands, face, and feet. The Gemara answers elapanav yadav v'raglav. Okay, it's saying that you can't even wash your hands, face, and feet with this water that was heated in Chamei Tveria. Ema Seifa, what goes on? It says b'Yom Tov, it was heated on Yom Tov. It's kechamin shehuchma b'Yom Tov aser b'rechitza mutarin b'shtiya. Then it's like hot water that was heated on Yom Tov, which you're not allowed to use for washing. You're only allowed to use it for drinking. Le'metanan stomach Beis Shammai. Must be that our Mishnah is following Beis Shammai. Why? The Tanan Beis Shammai am licham adam chamin l'ragla ve'om ken roim l'shtiya. You're not allowed to heat water on Yom Tov to wash your feet. It has to be water that's drinkable, and then you can change and use it for your feet. You heat hot water for your tea. You don't put the tea in it, and you use it to wash your feet. Beisil says no. I'm allowed to heat water to wash my feet or hands or face, whatever. So we're saying that what's the issue? What type of rechitza are we dealing with? Where we said that you can't do it on Shabbos or on Yom Tov, we said we're talking about washing your hands, face, and feet with this hot water. It says, but on Yom Tov you're allowed to have hot water to wash your hands. Okay, it must be following Beis Shammai. Amar Avika bar Chanina l'shtativ bem kol gufa eskinan. We're not talking about taking a bath. We're talking about rinsing. Sounds more like a shower. V'hai Tana hu de Tanya, and this is the Tana that has this brisa. Li'ishtativ adam kol gufa bein b'cham bein mitzayin div Reb Meir. Person shouldn't take a full shower, whether in hot water and cold water. That's the opinion of Reb Meir. This is talking about on Shabbos. Reb Shimon Mater. Reb Shimon allows it. So there's no problem at all. Rabbi Yehuda says it depends. Hot water is not allowed, and cold water is allowed. And Amar Rav Chizda, machlekes bekeli. If the water is in a utensil, that's when you have an issue. You're taking water and you're pouring it over yourself. Avol bekarka, but if the water is held in the ground, so then divrei kol moter, everyone holds that it's permissible.
Right. So then it's not a shower. Then it's like a bath.
Yeah. So what's the difference between rechitza and le'shtatif? I don't know. I understood le'shtatif is a rinse. What's a rinse? Is like a quick wash or something. problem with this is that you said that if it's in the ground, then it's permissible. The concern, why is in a vessel is different than the ground? Because in a vessel, it looks more similar to that it was heated by a stovetop or something. But if it's the water's in the ground, then no one's going to think that it was heated it's not as similar to being heated by fire. Or maybe you won't come to heat it on Shabbos. So the Gemara says, we have to say the machlokes is slightly different. We have to explain the statement of Rav Chisda. Machlokes bekarka. They're only arguing in the ground. But if it would be in a utensil, everyone would agree that it would be prohibited to use to bathe. Amar Rabbi Bar Chana, Amar Rabbi Yechanan, Halacha Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Bar Chana says that Allah is like in the name of Rabbi Yechanan, Allah is like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda held that it depends if it's hot or cold. If it's hot, it's prohibited. If it's cold, it's permissible to rinse. Amalei Rabbi Yosef says to Rabbi Bar Chana, Beferish. On the side of the Gemara, it says Rabbi Yosef. Ferish Shmielach and Mechlala Shmielach. Did you hear this directly from Rabbi Yochanan, or are you deriving it from something else that he said? My klala, what could he have derived it from? Amar Tanchem, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Amar Rabbi Yanai. Oh, I'm sorry, Amar Rabbi. Here's the Rabbi. Amar Rabbi Yanai, Amar Rabbi. Here's where it's supposed to be Rabbi. Rabbi Bar Chana must have come back to Bavel to have this conversation with Rabbi Yosef. It says, "Kol makom shata moitzi shnayim chalukim v'echad machriya halacha k'divrei machriya. Chutz mikuli matlani shafa pish Rabbi Lezer machmer b'shul mekel Rabbi Kiv machriya and halacha k'divrei machriya." Okay, anywhere where you have a machlokes and you have one opinion that's like in the middle between both. So Rabbi Yochanan said the halacha is like that middle opinion. Why? Because it's 2 against 1. In this aspect, he agrees with him, and in this aspect, he agrees with him. So that becomes the 2 against the other one. They divide up like that. So Rabbi Yochanan said the halacha is k'divrei machriya. Well, here also Rabbi Yehuda is a machriya. He says it depends if it's hot or if it's cold. So that means that he's going to hold like Reb Shimon when it's cold, and he holds like was the other opinion. Reb Meir when it's hot. So maybe Rabbi Bar Chana didn't hear it from Rabbi Yochanan. Clearly, he's just saying that Rabbi Yochanan would have said it over here as well because he holds halacha k'divrei machriya, except in the case where there's a machlokes, matlaniyos, over there with these cloths, if they're tamei or not. There's a machlokes Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua, and Rabbi Akiva is a machriya. And over there we say that the halacha is not k'divrei machriya. First of all, chada the Rabbi Akiva talmidu. First of all, Rabbi Akiva is a talmud. We had this Gemara before. What was the case? If it's less than 3 by 3 and you're using it to plug up a merchatz, is it considered tamei? It's a type of cloth that you could have thrown out. That's what we were discussing. Remember the shmatas. It depends if you still want it or not. You didn't put it in a box or that. So Rabbi Akiva is a Talmud, so he's not counted as another opinion. You don't add him together with if you're adding up opinions of how many say this and how many say that, the student and the teacher don't get added together. Another reason, Va'oid, Ha'hada be Rabbi Akiva l'gabi de Rabbi Shua, Rabbi Akiva then changed his mind. And he passes like Rabbi Shua, so you can't count him as well. This is like someone said. He started a speech. He said, "How come Parsha Shmini has a big shin?" So someone in the congregants says, "It doesn't have a big shin; it's a regular shin." This is that's one answer. So you can't count Rabbi Akiva. Why? Well, because he doesn't hold like that. he changed his mind. Also, another reason. Okay, we said also the student reason is a chiddush. Okay, the Gemara asks, what's the difference? If Rabbi Bar Bachana heard it directly from Rabbi Yochanan, or if he derived it, the Gemara says no. If he derived it from what Rabbi Yochanan said, then it may not be acceptable. Why? Maybe Rabbi Yochanan only says that we go like the Machriya, this middle opinion, in a Mishnah, but not in a Brisa. Maybe the Brisas aren't precise enough that we have the opinions accurate, that we should be able to say Halacha Kedivrei Machriya. Maybe the way Rebbe set it up, the Mishnayos, Rebbe set it up originally because that was his intention with that rule, that Halacha Kedivrei Machriya. But maybe the Brisas weren't set up like that. I heard it directly from Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, let's go further. Itmar, Chamet Shuchim B'Erev Shabbos. If you have hot water that was heated before Shabbos, Rav Amar Lamacha Reichetz B'Em Kol Gufay Ever Ever. Rav says that you're allowed to wash your whole body, but you have to wash one limb at a time. So and the total is that you washed your whole body, but you can't wash it all at once. You have to wash limb by limb. Shmuel says no. You can only wash your face, hands, and feet. Meisvei, the Gemara has a question. Do you have to do Rav? Clear brisa. You're not allowed to wash your whole body. Only your face and hands and feet. Gemara could answer, well, Rav argues on them, because the Gemara sometimes does that, says Rav is a Tana and argues. But we try not to do that. Amalach Rav answers, Loikol Gufa b'vasachas ele ever ever. It says Loikol Gufa, it means, but you can't wash your whole body at once. But you are allowed to wash limb by limb.
Question.
Yeah.
What's the Av Malaka here?
Of washing? It's actually on the next page. There's it on the bottom over here. It's a gzeira. It's a gzeira of heating water. They would the balanim, which are the people that would take care of the mikveh. They would end up heating water on Shabbos. There was a fee to get in, and they would prepare it on Shabbos and different things. So they stopped all rechitza.
So it's like Shema Yikta. The concern is that something's going to be done to build a fire.
Yeah.
So
similar, but that was Shema Yikta is an individual concern. Here there was a decree against people using bathhouses because of those guys.
Why would limb by limb? Why would the way one wash make a difference then?
I guess because it's not similar enough to bathing. I guess that's what he means. Like how distant it needs to be. So Rav over here is going to answer. Rav says, it says you can only wash your hands and face and feet. It says no. What it means is ken panav yad v'raglav. It means similar to the hands, face, and feet. Which means that you wash your whole body the way you wash your hands and your feet and your face, which is one limb by limb. Tashima, come and listen. They only allowed you on Shabbos to use water that was heated on Erev Shabbos to wash your hands, face, and your face, hands, and feet. The Gemara says, well, we can answer this as well. Similar to the face, hands, and feet, which is what limb by limb. That's a Rav would answer. Tani Kavasei the Shmuel. We have a brisa that supports Shmuel. I'm not sure why the first brises were called Kashas and Rav, and this brisa is called a brisa that supports Shmuel. To me, they seem it's interchangeable. I'm not sure exactly why. Chamet Shuchim Me'erev Shabbos, hot water that's heated before Shabbos. L'macha reichetz b'em panav yad v'raglav avalei kol gufay. You can wash your hands, your face, your hands, and your feet, but not your whole body. Avalekal gufay aver, not the whole body limb by limb. Vein tzarich loymar, and you for sure cham and shuchma b'yamtiv if it was heated on yamtiv. This is talking about cham and shuchma me'erev Shabbos, that you're not allowed to, and for sure if it's heated on yamtiv, you're not allowed to. Cham and shuchma me'erev Shabbos. The vein tzarich loymar, how in your translations does it go? Does vein tzarich loymar tell me that for sure I'm allowed to wash my hands, face, and feet, or for sure I'm not allowed to wash my whole body, which is the vein tzarich loymar? Do you have anything there? Okay. So it goes like this. Rabbi Masin la Shmaita de Rabbi Bahailishna. Rabbi taught it the following way. Cham and Shuchma me'erev Shabbos. Hatwara that's eaten on erev Shabbos l'machar the following day. Amar Rav. Rav says on Shabbos, Reichetz bem kol gufay. You can wash your whole body. Mashayir aver echad, and you leave out one limb. See, it's slightly different than the way we learned Rav before. We learned Rav that you wash limb by limb. He learns that you leave out one limb. Now here, what happens now is Esvei Kalani Tiyufta. The Gemara does this in short, like slightly impatient. We go through all the questions that we asked before. The Gemara says, so Tiyufta. Those are real questions. You see, if you learn Rav says that you wash limb by limb, and that's acceptable, so then we'll say, oh, it's ke'en panav yadav. It's similar to the way you wash your hands and face, which is limb by limb. You wash your hands, you wash your face. But if you say that you wash your whole body, but you just leave out one limb, you leave one arm out of the bath, so then how do you say ke'en panav yadav? That's not similar to the face. You don't have any answer over there. So that's going to be a tiyufta. Amalei Rav Yosef Labaya. Rabbi Yosef Asabaya, Rabba Mika Abed Kishmaita de Rav. Did Rabba paskin like Rav that allows to wash on Shabbos if it was heated yesterday? Amalei Layadana. He says, I don't know. The Gemara says Abaya was raised in Rabba's house. The Gemara says, Mighty Boile, Pshita the lay of it. The Yitaisav, of course he didn't do, because it was we had questions on Rav. The Gemara says, well, maybe he didn't hear those questions. The Gemara says, well, if he didn't hear those questions, then for sure he did do like Rav. So the Amar Abaya kol mili demar Ravid Karav bar mehani klas David Kishmol, because we have a statement that Rabba always paskin like Rav, except for in 3 instances. We had this earlier in this Masechta. Matilim beged lebeged. You can remove tzitzis from one beged to put on another beged. And madlikin miner lener, you can light one candle from another candle, which he doesn't paskin. These are cases where Rabba did not go like Rav. And v'alachik Reb Shimon begreira, and we paskins like Reb Shimon about dragging a chair, that you're allowed to do that. The Gemara answers, well, he still had a question. Maybe he didn't follow Rav. Maybe Rabba didn't follow Rav. Why? This is a leniency. Maybe Rabba only accepted Rav's chumras. Maybe he didn't accept Rav's kulas, and to take a shower or to bathe, that would be a leniency. Maybe it doesn't go like that.